Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Shillan here, and I'm back with another MMATakeover.com special edition. Today's guest is one of the true pioneers of the sport. He has been a professional fighter for close to 20 years with a 60-26-1 record. He has fought in UFC, Pride, Dream, Strikeforce, M1, and several other organizations. He is a two-time Abu Dhabi world champion, and he faces Gordon Ryan in Submission Underground 3 this Sunday in Oregon. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Monson. Jeff, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thanks for being a guest. We really appreciate it. Jeff, so you've been a true pioneer of the sport. You've been around for 20 years now. Tell us, going back, how did you originally get into mixed martial arts?
Well, I wrestled in college, and then after college, I was going to get my master's degree and was helping out coaching and stuff like that at the University of Illinois. And then I got my master's degree as a mental health professional.
Okay, so
Working in mental health and as
okay.
a psychologist, and then man, I just still had that drive to want to compete, and all I knew was wrestling. So I had a family and two children and a wife, and I get done working at the end of the day and go and get some like local high school kids or some old time guys that are 40 or 50 years old and wrestle around with them, and then every year I go to the U.S. Open and try to make the U.S. team, which is like the top six, or the Olympic roster, which is the top six in the Olympic year. And man, I came really close a few times. I just always fell short. And these guys were living in Colorado Springs, the wrestling full time, and I just didn't have the opportunity. But then in the Northwest, we had Randy Couture and Matt Lindland, Josh Barnett.
Yeah.
Had a lot of good guys like right in that area. And I said, hey, I try this, I wrestle, let me try this. So, I started doing that, and I just got addicted.
Okay, now the Snowman is obviously a great nickname, which you're known for. Let people know at home how you got that nickname.
Yeah, I got the Brazilians gave me the name the Snowman from the Abu Dhabi the first time I did it. Just I was like a snowball, running through everybody. We're getting bigger, like a big snowball. And just you're like a snowman, like an avalanche. So I kind of stuck.
So you just kind of stuck from there. Now, you've been with American Top Team for forever, which is obviously one of the best teams, if not the best team in mixed martial arts. Tell them how you end up hooking up with American Top Team from the beginning, and also what changes have you seen from American Top Team from now until then, like specifically training.
Well, we were like everything's evolved. Like American Top Team is the epitome of the evolution of MMA. When I first got on, we were the Staveria brothers. We were Conan and Marcelo Staveria, two brothers that knew only jiu-jitsu. And Conan had been an MMA fighter, knew a little bit of fighting, but no boxing, no wrestling. And they brought me on. I'd done jiu-jitsu against some of the guys from the team. No one really fought MMA out of the team. It was more of a jiu-jitsu club. And, I fought some of the guys, and they're like, hey, we got along really good, and they invited me down, and we hung out a little bit. And then I got a USC invite against Rico Rodriguez, and they said, hey, we'll train you. And I went out and got my ass kicked in that fight. I'd only been down there like a week. And they said, you know what, we still like you. We like your attitude, and you're a hard worker. So, teach us some wrestling. We'll teach you jiu-jitsu. And so it stuck on. And, man, just, our facility was like maybe 400 square feet, of mat, and we just got done showering, and we had a hose out there, and we all like took a shower on, one at a time when we were done outside in our shorts. And then now we have a 35,000 square foot facility with with a dormitory and rings and mats and weights, and we have professional boxing coach and wrestling coach and Muay Thai. We have everything. You couldn't ask for you couldn't ask for a better facility or more guys. But the big thing about it is like a lot of these guys have been there, for 15 years, 16 years. So it's like it's a family. Like when they're when people say, oh, the family, like I can't, I'm not exaggerating by saying like we're like really a family. And it's, it's just the best luck I've ever had in MMA or my career is getting with American Top Team.
Sure. Now you've been there for a long time. You coach for them too, correct?
Say it again.
I say you coach for American Top Team too, correct?
Yeah, I coached wrestling, for a long time, but now they got a lot better guys than me that are coaching and teaching. Once in a while I'll come and help out a little bit, but I think I get more out of it, than I give back, because the guys are such high levels now, and they're so, like they're so talented, and there's not much I can show that these guys don't know.
Sure.
That one of the coaches can't show. So I'm just like really blessed to be not only part of it, but over the last years, decade and a half, like to see it grow so big. Not like it's grown with the sport as the sport has got bigger. See, when I was in it back then, it was pretty. Nobody knew about it really. Just a few hardcore people. Now
Sure.
It's like the most famous thing in the world, and American Top Team has kind of grown along with that. So, and it's been good to watch.
It's like a college campus down there, how big it is, and now you got all these affiliate schools. I know we just talked to Nico Price, who's at an affiliate school from yours, and different places. So it's kind of cool to see how quickly you guys have grown to such a massive team. But I got to point out that I think you're being a little humble. You said that you can't show a lot of things. I think a D1 national wrestling wrestler plus a multi-time Abu Dhabi champion can show a lot of things to fighters. So I think you're just being a little humble there.
Yeah, you'd think that, right? But man, you're going on any given day, and there's like literally no exaggeration, like 35, 36, 37 black belts on the mat at one time. And it's pretty exciting,
Well, yeah, you got a who's there.
If you don't bring your A game, you get beat up pretty good in the room. So.
Now, you were talking about when the sport first started. I've been a fan of mixed martial arts since UFC 6. I remember seeing that. So I've basically watched almost your entire career. When you first came in, you were a light heavyweight, and obviously now you're a heavyweight. Why was that transition? I know this is going way back now, but why was that transition from light heavyweight to heavyweight?
Well, when I came in, I was like always about 220, 215, and I cut down to at that time it was 199. It was under 200.
Yeah.
And then I had some bad cuts, and I just didn't perform well. Like you think being like a bigger guy at light heavyweight and losing the weight and coming in. But back then, like I said, the sports evolved so much. We talked about American Top Team evolving, getting a better and bigger gym, better training methods, all that. But, the weight cutting's changed. I remember being in with Dennis Hallman, who he fought Matt Hughes.
Yeah, beat him twice.
I fought Chuck Liddell in Japan, UFC J27, I think. And
okay.
We were just, we lost like 15 pounds of water the night before, and we were dying. And but now, the guys, they take these salt baths, or they do this like sauna workout where they're not actually having to work out, and they come in really fresh. But when I did it, took a lot out of me, and I just, I don't know, it was a lot easier, like lifting weights and eating a lot than it was like cutting 20 pounds. So.
Now you had to do it the old school way with the trash bags and all the looking like an Eskimo while you're running.
Yeah, it was old school, man. The plastic Glad bags and the exercise bike and the sauna and that stuff.
Yeah,
but it's evolved a lot. These guys don't have to work as hard now.
I grew up wrestling, and
better.
I grew up wrestling, and I understand that weight cut. And I hear these guys, like you just stated, that you cut 15 pounds. I remember doing it in wrestling and cutting not even close to that weight and feeling like torture. I couldn't imagine doing 15, 16, 17 pounds. You hear these guys do. That's insane, and it's not healthy either. So it's glad to see the evolution of the sport. Obviously, people train smarter. They do it down to a science, and dieting is a lot different now. So
Yeah, the diet, everything's better, man. I was really good at cutting weight, but the next day I wasn't so good at performing when I cut it. But the guys today, man, they cut all that weight, and the next day they're performing like champs.
So now you have over 80 professional fights, which to me is just absolutely insane to be able to do that. And I don't mean that in an insult. I mean that as a compliment. Um, Now my question to you is obviously fighters get nervous. Do you still get nervous? When you enter to fight.
Yeah, I still get nervous, man. It never goes away. It's you know, I've kind of struggled kind of with anxiety and stuff, like before the fights and stuff like that, and it's like it's like really like you need some anxiety, but too much is not good. If you don't have any, so a formula, and it seems like the longer you do it, it doesn't really. Every match is different. Your mood,
Sure.
your how well you train, injuries, like all that stuff, like depends on how you're gonna, how much anxiety I guess you're gonna bring into the match, and it's I don't know if you could bottle the right amount and sell it, it'd be a fortune, but it's still really hard to get that. I don't know. It's not. It's very easy to get up for the fight for me. It's like difficult to control control how much anxiety and emotions I have for it.
Sure. Now, you've fought so many guys. You have so many wins. You got over. I think you have 60 wins. Is there one win that really stands out to you that you're most proud of?
Um, on it, like quite honestly, it's the losses that stand out.
Okay.
Like I've had some nice wins, but obviously losing the UFC title fight.
Yeah, against Tim Sylvia.
Because that's kind of a life changer. Even if you lose your next fight or next 30 fights, you could say at one day, I was UFC champion.
Sure.
But losing that fight was big. Losing to Fedor was a tough one as well.
Of course.
I really expected to win, trained to win. I don't know. Maybe when I'm done fighting, I can look back and appreciate some of the wins, but like the losses, have a lot more impact on me. I think a lot more about what I've lost than what I've won.
I think that more reflects on the competitor that you are. That you would think more about the losses than the actual things you've accomplished. I mean, just you mentioned fighting Tim Sylvia for the heavyweight title, a fight that you end up losing by decision. It's a great accomplishment to just put yourself in that position to fight and be considered the best in the world. So now transition, kind of a similar question. You fought, like you said, you fought Tim Sylvia. You fought both the Emelianenko brothers, Fedor and Alexander. You fought Chuck Liddell and Forrest Griffin, Josh Barnett, Mark Kerr. You fought some of the biggest names in the sport. Is there one fighter that you never got to face or haven't faced that you kind of wish you could have?
Yeah, I always wanted to fight Randy Couture.
Okay.
We trained together a lot, and it's not a thing like, oh, I'm gonna go beat this guy up. It was more of a respect kind of thing, because
Yep.
he was, we trained a lot, and for a long time he was the best, and so you want to fight the best.
Yeah.
And so, I wanted to fight him because, I guess maybe not when I was training with him, but when I joined the American top team and stuff, I just had that, I knew how he trained, and I guess had some insight on that and stuff, and it just, I don't know, as well, like I said, more of a respect thing. I do the best of the best, so I wanted to, see how I do.
Yeah. So, being the media that I am, I'm going to have to spin this when we promote it, saying that you had a long time beef with Randy Couture and you've always wanted to fight him, and it's been going back for 20 years. That's how I'm going to spin this.
Yeah, I mean, we had, Randy, imagine these guys that I trained when I went up north to Seattle. I was in Olympia, so I was right in the middle. Up north, we had Dennis Hallman, fought for the UFC title.
Sure.
We had Josh Barnett, UFC champion. We had Maurice Smith, who won the UFC title. Up north, and then down south, we had Matt Lindland, who fought for the UFC title. We had Chael Sonnen. We had Randy Couture. We had Dan Henderson. Like, all those guys were within an hour and 15 minutes from my house. So, like, quite a lineup.
Yeah, so there's not many times people going to roll up in that neighborhood and try looking for a fight. There's not the neighborhood to be looking for a fight. So, I mean, you mentioned Randy. When I thought of that question, the first name that popped in my head was Randy Couture. I said he's going to have to say Randy Couture. They're from the same area. They fought basically the same time. The other name that kind of came to me would be Antonio Nogueira. I'm sure that's someone you probably have high respect for too. That's probably stylistically two great jiu-jitsu guys. I think that would have been a great matchup. How would you have felt about that matchup?
Yeah, I trained with like Nogueira, because they're part of the Brazilian top teams. Cousins of American top teams. So a lot of the guys come up and train. Sometimes I trained with both the Nogueira brothers, and they're great guys as well as tough fighters. And it'd be a tough match. I don't know how exciting it would be, but it'd be tough.
Yeah. So no, it's just transition a little bit. Now you've fought all over the world. You've pretty much fought in every country. Is two-part question. What's the coolest place that you got to fight at? And also, what's the one place that you haven't fought at that you wish you could have?
Oh, wow. Well, I always wanted to play in China just to see what it would be like, Okay. I know it's like gotten big. I fought in Asia, South Korea and, Philippines, Japan, of course, and stuff. But I always wanted to fight in China. I never had the chance. And probably the coolest place I ever fought I don't know the name of the town. It was up in the mountains, like about a 2-hour drive up into the mountains in the rainforest outside of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And it was like, we're like literally in the woods.
Okay.
And then it was the rainforest. So we did this fight. And we went outside and it was dark and you could hear all the monkeys like howling, and we had to go through it. And it was like pouring down rain. It was kind of a cool experience. And I still remember that like really well. And that was cool. And then we drove back to Rio that night, and then it was like at 3 or 4 in the morning. I was walking on the beach of Rio de Janeiro, and it's like total blackness.
Yeah.
And I looked up, I could see up in the mountains a little bit the lights, little flickering lights and stuff. I thought it was a pretty cool experience.
Probably not often that you think a guy from the Midwest would be in the rainforest somewhere. I mean, that must have been a surreal.
No, that's in the rainforest.
So, you last fought in October. When do you plan on fighting again, if you are planning?
So my next fight, actually, just 2 days ago, I signed a contract. I'm fighting Aleksander Emelianenko again.
Okay.
In Moscow.
Oh wow!
He just got out of jail.
Yeah. He's been in the news.
Yeah, he's been in the news. And so we're fighting. So their big day, the biggest day of the year in Russia, is Victory Day.
Okay.
Which is May 9th, and that's like their 4th of July.
Okay.
And so it's a big celebration. Vladimir Putin will be there, and
really
a lot of their Duma and like governors and stuff like that. So it'll be a big celebration. So it's a big day for me. I just want to further up. So you're gonna be fighting in front of Putin? No, Vladimir Putin will be there watching.
I'm sorry, you broke up. He is gonna be there or isn't?
Vladimir Putin will be there, yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's... Now, let me ask you a question. Now, you've been fighting a lot in Russia. How have you been accepted by the fans, at being that you're an American fighting overseas, and especially now that you're going to be fighting one of their own? One, how have you been accepted by the fans, and also, how do you expect to be accepted for that fight?
Yeah, it's been really crazy experience. I fought 5 years ago. I fought Fedor and lost the fight, but it went the distance. And I broke my leg in the middle of the fight, and I finished. So the fans appreciated that first of all, they were glad that Fedor's a god there, so they're happy he won. But we put on a good fight, and everyone was happy. And then just like a bunch of it was like domino effect. Like he took a picture with me that was in their front page, and then Vladimir Putin met with me, and that was in the news. And then I was on there Dancing with the Stars there, and then walked with the Communist Party chief to Lenin's grave. Like all this stuff, like all these. I was on their late night show there, so like a lot of like crazy things happened because of that. And then I had some fights there that went well. So they accepted me really pretty good and pretty popular in Russia. So yeah, I really enjoy going. And I do on Russia Today now. I have a little cultural political talk show that I do once a month there. So I go back every month to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, had a crazy experience, crazy ride actually.
Sure. So let me ask you a question. So you've been around for a long time. You're 46 years old. Tito Ortiz kind of was around the same time. He just retired. Is the end coming near? Do you see it? Do you have a certain fight you want to make before you retire? Like, have you thought about retirement?
Yeah, like 2 years ago, I said 2 more years. And now I'm still going. But I'm going to do this fight May 9th. And that's the only thing I got planned right now. And this definitely will be my last year. It could be my last fight. Maybe I'll do one fight after, but I think maximum 2, maybe 1. A lot of it's just see how I feel. I still, I kind of lost, the drive to fight. I still wanted to grapple, but I just didn't want to fight anymore.
Okay.
And then it came back,
Okay.
I just want to do well in this fight right now on May 9th and then see where it goes from there.
Okay, so when you decide to hang it up, are you going to be doing the submission grappling full-time thing, or are you going to be coaching, like you do your media thing, doing your political show? Like, what's the plans going to be?
I'm gonna concentrate on doing the political show in Russia, and I'm gonna open up a bunch of schools for kids there. I want to open up, they're in Siberia and some other regions. They don't have a lot of money, and it's struggling. There a little bit for the opportunities for the kids. So I'm looking for investors. I'm working with actually the Communist Party there, and we're gonna open up some schools that are free for the kids.
Okay.
So I'm doing it, for no pay, and just because I want to. Man, American Top Team's a perfect example. They took me under. Invested a lot of time, energy, money, everything into me, and for just because. Like some guys love fighting, love jiu-jitsu. So, I'd love to give back to some kids and stuff like that. So that's kind of my dream is, to watch the matches. Maybe when I get older and see some people, see these kids grow up and do some of the techniques that I showed. And, that's kind of my dream, and see these kids have opportunity that they wouldn't have otherwise had.
Okay. So, it's good for you to give back like that. Let me transition to your grappling. You're a very, very highly decorated grappler. Obviously, you've fought MMA on the highest level. Which one do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy one over the other?
Oh, I enjoy the grappling much, much more.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a wrestler, by trade. That's what I started, and that's what I love to do. So, I want to continue, doing that. I still have the love for that, and I don't think I ever loved fighting. I love competing. I love like winning, and,
Sure.
and training and competing. I love the camaraderie of the guys, but I never loved fighting. But I love grappling, because it's so. I don't know. It just seems like it's just maybe something personal, but if I had. Like just controlling somebody else and doing positions, and you don't have to be the biggest and strongest to win. You can use like a lot of technique and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, no, we've recently interviewed some other guys. One guy we recently interviewed was Mark Coleman. He kind of said a similar thing when the reason how he transitioned MMA was just because he wanted to keep competing in something. He didn't, and not necessarily that he wanted to fight people or hurt anybody. He just wanted to, the competitiveness of wrestling, NCAA's, Wrestling Olympics. He just wanted to continue competing. So it's an answer I hear a lot from fighters is that they just like to compete. Um, so speaking of competing, you're facing Gordon Ryan. He's a 21-year-old BJJ black belt. You're competing against him this Sunday in Submission Underground 3. What do you know about him, and what do you expect from him in this match?
Well, actually, like just like today, I had like a family issue in Ohio, so I'm actually in Ohio taking care of some things. So I'm not going to be facing Gordon Ryan. Hopefully, in the very near future, I can do it. I don't follow the sport that much.
Okay.
Just like I learn from the guys when I go to the gym, and maybe teach a little bit and learn from whoever's there. And I don't like watch and follow, but when I found out, when this match got scheduled, I like, okay, I haven't heard of this guy. Let me look up, and I watched one of his matches. And I know last weekend he won the Sapiro Open with $10,000, and just submitted everybody real quick. The guy is. This is definitely the next generation, and we talked about the evolution of the sport.
Sure.
This is the next evolution of the sport, man. This, my method, take down a guy, like grind him, pass the guard, look for submission. I mean, this guy is from every top, bottom, sideways, upside down, whatever. He's submitting people, and triangles, arm locks, guillotines, ankle locks, heel hooks, everything. It was amazing. I was quite, I heard I couldn't believe he was 21 years old when I saw this. So I thought, a 21-year-old kid, I thought they were going to match me up against someone like, with a with a lot of credentials. But the guy does have a lot of credentials, and he's really good. I just, I was in college when I was 21. I hadn't done nothing in my life yet.
Yeah.
This guy's already one of the top in the world. So yeah, hopefully on the next show, I'll be able to compete and take care of this family stuff. But yeah, I'm really disappointed I can't do it. But hopefully I'll be able to see the video of him competing against who they match him up with, and hopefully fight him next time.
No, just from everyone here, we hope everything's okay with your family, and we hope to get to see you either grapple him or grapple someone else in the near future. One thing we always do here, we do a fan forum question with our partners at Sports Talk. This comes from a question from a fan. This comes from T-Shirt Kurt from Florida. His question is, what is the craziest backstage story you have?
Backspace?
I'm sorry, what?
The craziest backspace?
Yeah, he said, what's the craziest backstage story you have that you're willing to share?
Well, we talked about UFC 27 with me and Dennis Fallman. So I'm really good friends with Dennis. And so we went there, and we both had to cut a ton of weight. And so at this time, I mean, this is way before the UFC is now. And so we were down there in the hotel weight room cutting weight, and we were about we checked the medical scale downstairs, and we're like within a pound, so we're like, okay. And so we go into this big cold pool that they have. And we're not drinking the water, but we're splashing in our mouths and, gurgling it. We're so hot. And then these older Japanese guys come in, and they get down in it. They're naked, and they sit down in this water, and it's like basically to wash your genitals and stuff. They're washing their ass and their balls and stuff.
Oh, man.
And we're like, oh, my God. Well, we didn't even care. It's so hot. But then, so we go up, and we ask one of the UFC, managers. We're like, hey, let's check on our weight on the official scale. Well, on this fight, Tito Ortiz was fighting Yuki Kondo for the title.
Yep.
Defending his body with Yuki Kondo.
Yep.
And they were using Yuki Kondo, this is his whole hometown. They're using his his scale from his gym, and they had it calibrated so it was 5 pounds heavy. Because Yuki Kondo weighed about 190, 195 maybe. And so when he got on the scale, he just walk out of street clothes and he'd be under 200 pounds. Well, Tito was cutting a lot of weight. I was cutting a lot of weight against Chuck Liddell was cutting a lot of weight. Dennis was cutting a lot of, we're cutting a lot of weight. And so when we got on the scale, we're in the hotel room, and me and Dennis, they gave us the key, and we get on the scale, and we're like 9 pounds over. We're like on downstairs on the medical scale, but on this little bathroom scale, we're like 9 pounds over.
Wow.
And I'm like, we're not going to make weight. I said, this is the night before. So I said, Dennis, break the scale. So he puts it on the floor, sits on the counter, on the bathroom counter of this hotel room, and jumps on the scale. I just, bam! And now we're like 25 pounds over. And so I go, now you got to bust it. So he gets on again, does it, and then he does it about 4 or 5 times. And the last time he did it, we're like 3 pounds under, if you lean a little bit. So I'm like, you want to order? So we took it downstairs, and we said, okay, let's go. So the next morning, I was like, I told Tito, and I told Chuck, because I was fine. Chuck, I go, look, I want to be fair, and then go check the scale, because you don't have to cut so much, just to be fair with you. So we were the first guys to win. It wasn't like before where they call your name and you go up. You just like line up like a wrestling, like a dual meet, just like, okay, check. And so we did it. We were the first ones on it, like all weighed in, and then we were gurgling like drinks and Gatorades and all this stuff. And then Yuki Kondo gets on it, and he's like 10 pounds under. And he's like, hold on, what's up? And so they tried to make us all redo it. But Matt Hume, who was the manager at the time, said, no, they've already drank, they can't do it. And he got us out of there. They were trying to like cancel all the fights and everything, saying it wasn't unfair, but we got out of there and ended up being okay. I got my ass kicked in that fight, but at least I didn't have to cut extra weight.
Yeah. So Yuki Kondo's team was trying to help him out, and then he ended up having a bad.
Yeah, they were trying to help him out, but he got his ass kicked too.
Yeah, like Tito.
A minute, so.
That was when Tito was the top guy back then.
Yeah, Tito was the top guy.
All right, so one of your teammates is fighting tomorrow night, Jorge Masvidal. It's probably the biggest fight of his career. He faces Donald Cerrone. What's your prediction for that fight?
I think he's going to win, man. I know he's been training really hard. He's like, I remember doing a couple fight cards with him about 5 or 6 years ago, and then he's come a long way. But he's always been a hard worker. He's always been a hard worker, and he's always been in the gym every day. And one thing about him, he's always willing to learn. He took some. He's doing well, and he took a couple losses, but he didn't give up, and he learned from what he was doing wrong, and got the right guys around him, that top team, and it's hard to bet against my own guy.
Yeah. So you heard it from Jeff Monson. If you're a betting man, you could probably get some pretty good odds on Jorge Masvidal. So bet on game.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah.
So I know I'm gonna let you go. You've been on for a while. We appreciate you giving us all this time. Our last question to you, Jeff, is: have you submitted to the takeover?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
My last question for you is: have you submitted to the takeover?
Yeah, Jeff Monson submitted to the takeover.
All right, Jeff, we wish you luck with everything you do. We hopefully you get rescheduled for a grappling match. We wish you luck, and welcome to the MMA Takeover family.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, guys.
Thanks. And ladies and gentlemen, that's our exclusive interview with Jeff the Snowman Monson. Make sure you check out our website, themmmatakeover.com. That's themmmatakeover.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.